Army. I'm in a bar here now, down in the 4th sector.
Okay, guys, welcome to the 4th episode of the 4th Sector. I'm Michael Anthony of Pop Art Ave.
Hey guys, welcome to the 4th Sector. This is Ashley from Forged the Neon. You're very welcome.
Hope you guys have been enjoying the first 3 episodes. You can watch them either of our YouTube channels, Forged the Neon, Pop Art Ave, and you could also catch them on Retrowave as well too.
Big shout out to Retrowave. Thank you guys so much for the support. As well, just on a broader sense, thank you guys for all of the support you've sent the show, from DMs to posts to reposts to posts again, emails, you name it. It's coming at us left, right and center, and we thoroughly appreciate it. As always, on every show, if you've got a cameo for us or if you've got a new video, send it our way. We want to see it, we want to air it. It's 4thsectorsynth@gmail.com.
Yep. Even if the cameo is a quick 5-10 second clip, it works. I'll definitely get it in on the show. Music videos, we're always looking for. If you're in Synthwave, Cyberpunk, Retrowave, anything within those genres. Yeah, again, thank you guys. It's been great as well too.
And on those cameos, of course, I mean, if you want to promote a new album, a new track coming out, by all means, just do it. Let's push it out there. So any cameo at all, whether it's saying a happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy cat dog day, we don't care. Just send it all to us. We'd love to see it. We always love to hear from you guys, which is terrific.
Yep. Then also coming up later, we have our interview with A.U.W.
Yeah, A.U.W, Abandoned Uranium Works. For those who don't know him, his name is Dom Cresswell. He has been big on the chill synth scene, but he's also rather big in the event scene as well. You might have seen quite a number of posts in and around the socials with respect to his new event space, which is Duskwaves, of which I am part of. But he's an incredible guy, an incredible artist, and we're so happy to bring an interview with him. I think this is his first interview, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, no, tune in for that. That's a little bit later on. But first, I think we're gonna go to a video. Check it out.
makes Jenny Light taste so great? Ingredients: barley and hops planted with state-of-the-art technology and harvested at the peak of ripeness.
Aye, that's right, Martha. We're making Jenny Light.
And shipped thousands of miles to our brewery. In fact, there's no place we won't go in our search for fine ingredients. A search that makes it all worthwhile when you say, boy, could I go for a Jenny now.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Now it's time to get into our top picks. So my top picks, Johnny Fallout just came out with Cyber Ethereal 2, which was his sophomore album from his debut album, which is really awesome. I gotta check that out. It's also on Retro Reverb Records Bandcamp. I believe it's out everywhere soon as well too, or maybe at the time of this viewing, it may be out everywhere. That's a really great album, Cyber Ethereal 2 by Johnny Fallout. Also, I do like Lost in Orbit by Spaceman 1981, which came out. He also had a previous album, which was, I believe, his debut album as Spaceman 1981. This is his sophomore album, Lost in Orbit, which is really great, like almost like a rock, pop, synth type of genre. There's some good vocals, good instrumentals on there as well too. Definitely check that out. That's on Pure Synth Bandcamp page as well too, and that should be out everywhere as well too. One of my last picks, I always hate trying to come up with these, but if I had to pick one more, I would say ATEX. He's coming out with some new singles as of now. I believe he had a free one out on Bandcamp that he was Ignite, I believe it was. And I believe he's coming up to an album as well too. ATEX is definitely, I saw him on one of the streams, I believe it was Synth Valley streams, I can't remember right now. Put on an awesome show. It was about a 45-minute show, which I believe is still out there. So definitely check him out. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep it three albums, 3 singles into this.
Yeah,
but
there's so much choice out there, it's ridiculous, but in a good way.
Yeah, yep. So Ashley, how is your picks?
Well, I've got 3 amazing picks, all right? So I'm going to blast off by suggesting the first one, which is a band from the stable of Fixed Neon called Nouveau Arcade. The track is called Die On Me Now, and it is incredible. It's a grittier offering than what they have been putting out of late, but it's addictive. Go check it out. It packs one hell of a punch. Got a powerful vocal as well, and the track will resonate with you after you've listened. Just definitely check it out. It's a good one. Next on my list actually is a guy that I've covered a little bit, and he's out with another banger, and it's called 𝘋𝘰𝘯𝘂 by the band World Complete. It came out just 2 days ago from the time we're recording this, but it's gaining great traction. So if you like your synth somewhat spacey, definitely going to love this, so check that out. Now the third and final one, oh my god, this is coming from a guy called QUIXOTIC. QUIXOTIC, yes. He's Hungarian, but he is the most quintessential 80s man this side of the millennium. He's incredible. He has sent out to the ether quite a real track. It's basically the Top Gun theme, but it's reimagined. And with all the engagement surrounding the new Top Gun film Maverick, this couldn't come at a better time. So he blasts out the gate, Mach 10, with a magnificent reimagining of this track. He's also twinned it with a mesmerizing video. How this guy does it, I don't know, but you've just got to check it out. In fact, I feel the need for speed. Check it out. The new video by QUIXOTIC right here on the 4th Sector.
rooster. Buddy, I got news for you. Well, you think you're one bad rooster. Buddy, I got news for you. Yeah, you're just another clucker trying to sing them 501 blues. Whoa!
The moment you've all been waiting for. This is Dom Cresswell, A.U.W. Let's welcome him. Here's the interview. You're all very welcome back to Forged in Neon, and we would love to welcome Mr. Dom Cresswell from A.U.W, Abandoned Uranium Works. That's a bit of a mouthful. How are you today, Dom?
I'm great, thanks, Ashley. How you doing?
Oh, very, very well indeed. Thanks for coming on our little show. Very
My
nice
pleasure.
to see you.
Thanks, Dom. It's good to see you. Nice to finally meet you as well.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely.
So yeah, just actually gonna kick off by asking you a little bit about your new album, Twilight Drives. It seems to have gotten a fantastic reception so far. How do you think the release went overall?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. It's been a long time in the making. You know, I've been working effectively on 3 different projects over a number of years. The album that I did back in October, November time was a little bit more sci-fi-y, this, you know, retrowave kind of me getting into the field, and this is a bit more, well, it's a softer thing, a more chill thing, and it's just been a number of years working on it, and so finally getting to the end of it, trying to actually getting it out on release feels like a good place to be at, to actually go,
Yeah.
I'm happy with this going out, being there, and people listening to it. As you said, those who've listened to it seem to have really enjoyed it.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable album, and certainly from the chill synth perspective, for those who don't know, Dom and I work rather closely together on Forged in Neon. He is Mr. Lounge. He actually looks after my chill synth track, so he gives us a brief rundown of what's kicking, what's new in the scene. So thank you so much indeed for that, Dom. But for the
Okay.
benefit of those who just discovering you, how did A.U.W come to be?
Oh, how did A.U.W come to be? I mean, A.U.W has been my pet project for, I probably shouldn't say how many years, because it might give you a hint at age.
Oh, go on, tell us all.
It's over 20 years I've been
Okay.
using the name A.U.W for bits and pieces. I studied some music tech many years ago. I went off and did DJing. I used to do, God, you're talking about 2000s, so trance, house, breakbeats, all of that sort of stuff.
Awesome.
And the A.U.W was just me usually mashing samples together and trying to make something that would fit into there. And yeah, I developed some breakbeat stuff and bits and pieces. And then I guess it really dropped off a while. I went off and did my own career path, and the rest of it, as we all do, you find a way to, you know, to forge yourself in whatever career it is. And then revisited it a few years back now, and it just seemed to all start flowing again. You know, these things just start pouring out. So it's been a long time, but it's definitely a change of, I'd say what was there in my sound is still there. And, you know, I'm still using some of the synths I was using 20 years ago to make it. But it's an evolution. And that's probably inspired by the fact that I found a scene that actually was inspiring to me and said, actually, you know, that's something I'd like to be part of. That's something I'd like to do something different in. Don't want to do what everybody else is doing, but you certainly has an input into what you do, which is great. You know, and that's what it's all about.
And you know what? I mean, I have to say, Abandoned Uranium Works as a working title for an artist is rather inspired. Like, how did you come up with that?
Oh, that it's all theft. It's all theft. It's from an old computer game. It's from a ZX Spectrum game, Manic Miner. So, you know, when you're in your teenage years or whatever it is, you look back at these things with, you know, with some fondness, and you think, oh, that sounds good. But I mean, I've abbreviated it now, and all the releases are just A.U.W, because, as you say, bit of a mouthful. I think the only reason I kept it on anything was because Bandcamp had more than a 3-character limit that you had to use. So it's the only reason it really made it onto there. But ever since the likes of Spotify have had my name for, you know, had it on there for publishing, they've automatically been putting it as A.U.W. So that's what I just stick with, the A.U.W. So if anybody asks me, you know, God, it's secret as to what it stands for, but not that big a secret if you bother to look any further.
I mean, what do you say is the most distinctive aspect of the music you create?
I guess for me, it's about trying to find that well, personally, it's me. It is me in a nutshell. You know, I was always heavily influenced by not just science fiction like films and TVs, like I'm sure so many people in this kind of scene are, but you know, I read the books, I read the Asimovs and the Arthur C. Clarke's, and you get those visions in your head, and of course you associate one with the other, and trying to create those pictures a little bit. So there is a lot of me in there in what, you know, how there's usually sometimes there's a bit of a subtle story in there, maybe. As I said, there's a story behind the previous album, which was about discovery, about trying something new, and it's called Across the Plains, because you're going out there almost into the wilderness, and that was about me trying the sound out, if you like, for first time. And Twilight Drives has a lot of stuff that really calls back to the pandemic and being trapped in, working like we are now over these sort of things, connecting with people and going, actually, even though we're far apart, it's being close to people in whatever way you can, that gives you that longing, sort of that vision, if you like, and that's what I've tried to convey in the music, and that's why it's chill. That's why it's not about fighting anything or, you know, anything like that. It's about that sort of inward looking with people that you want to be with and those sort of things. So you know, you can see it from the cover, you know, the looking out across you know, across that twilight. There's again still a little bit of that sci-fi element to it, if you look at what the landscape's like, but as I said, that's hopefully what makes it unique, is a bit of me thrown in there.
Which is always good. I mean, I know, you know, the pandemic for a lot of us was quite a depressing time, but we have it to thank for a lot of ingenuity and a lot of talent and skill for people honing their actual craft. I mean, I think over the last couple of years of the pandemic, you know, I think it's probably some of the best synth we've ever heard. You know, I think a lot of people they kind of looked inwardly and drew inspiration from, you know, what they were experiencing to try and you know, just, you know, but generally put better music out there, which is incredible. You know,
100%. It caused us all to think about the human condition, and what better inspirer is there for music than the human condition?
Absolutely.
You know,
so couldn't agree more.
So that's absolutely, whether it's instrumental or whether it's vocal, whether you put that into lyrics or whether you put that into your melodies and creating, you know, soundscapes. That's what I like to think about, is creating soundscapes, and you know, at the same time, it's also
so few musicians out there that actually can create soundscapes, and I mean, you're definitely one of them. I mean, I think I love listening to music that actually takes you on a journey, you know, because I mean, especially if, you know, and as you said rightly, you know, during the pandemic, I mean, we all wanted to take ourselves off on journeys, so I said, in a way, to have that sort of ability to create soundscapes is probably what, you know, elevated you that bit more, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of your music career, what decided, in terms of, you know, how you've pursued it, what made you decide to go the route you've gone over the 20 years that you've...
Well, I mean, I was always the electronic one in my crowd. I tended to hang around more with the indie kids and maybe some of the rockers, but I was always the electronic one. So I was into the Chemical Brothers or the Prodigy or people like that, rather than be my peers who might have been into, you know, maybe Nirvana or Foo Fighters or something. I learned to appreciate, or thankfully, because I say I did a bit of study, I learned to appreciate all kinds of music. Tried not to be a music snob. You know, to always say, even if it's something you don't particularly like, there's something to appreciate, because that's somebody's art, that somebody's puts themselves into that music, whether it's your taste or not. There's got to be something to appreciate. But yeah, so I was always heavily electronic led anyway. So as I said, it used to be the sort of techno-y stuff a little bit more later on. Tech house I used to DJ on and off across those 20 years. And then say the last 4 or 5 years, you know, had already been influenced for a few years by listening to the synthwave scene and listening in particularly to what is now termed as chill synth. I think people were just calling it chill wave or whatever at the time. Didn't want to discern the difference a few years back, but now everybody needs to box into those subgenres. But certainly, you know, listening to those and going, well, actually, it's all right now. If I want to stick in a synthesizer sound that sounds straight out of the 1980s TV sci-fis of the time, that's okay. And that really actually opened up a level of creativity. So it was about me just going, I'm expressing myself here, away from my day-to-day job, away from everything else, and pouring a bit of that into my music. And in terms of output, it just went up within a number of years. Just suddenly, you know, I'd written 1 or 2 tracks in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then suddenly there was track after track after track, and I almost didn't know what to do with all of this output. And that's why I say I ended up working on multiple projects at the same time, because they don't all fit together. They're all maybe telling a slightly different story, but each one has got its own merit. And you know, the next one will sound very different again, I'm sure. Probably won't be as chill again. Maybe there'll be something different, but that doesn't mean that I won't come back to it on something else, you know, the chill stuff on something else. So if it all sounded the same.
I mean, speaking of music, I mean, this couldn't be a better time to perhaps put a nice little music video into the mix of all this. What do we got, Michael, to put in?
Coming up next is 𝘰𝘯𝘴𝘵 by A.U.W. Let's check it out. Okay, guys, that was 𝘰𝘯𝘵 from Dom's latest album. So Dom, tell me about the background of that song. What was it like coming up with that?
So 𝘰𝘯𝘵, well, that was one of the last ones actually that went onto the album. You'll notice that there's two tracks back to back. There's 𝘰𝘯𝘵 and 𝘰𝘯𝘵. And what actually happened there was, it was as I was getting close to the end of writing the album, and I was getting to that point where you start cutting things out and go, does that work? Does that, does that sit well with it? And I think I just had this little riff or something like that I was working off the back of, and suddenly realized actually this is very sort of similar to the previous track, or to one of the other tracks on the album, but not the same. So I thought, well, let's just take elements from one and blend it into the other, but actually take them off on two very different directions. So I think the first one, the 𝘰𝘯𝘵 is more of a sort of M83 type influence track, that sort of thing. Whereas Dusk is very much actually probably got a little bit of influence from, or very much a little bit somewhere in the middle, influence from doing the lounge work. So from where I'd been listening to more and more the chill synth stuff on an analytical level, trying not desperately not to go, too critical on it, and just to look at the positives and suck the positive items out of it. And I think it was a little bit of influence there. So Dusk, as I said, was one of the last ones to go on there, came out very naturally, almost sort of fell onto the table in front of me in terms of tracks, and went, well, this fits brilliantly with stuff I've been doing for 2 years. So it almost it was destined to have a place on the album, almost by virtue of its own existence. So
that's really cool.
was a really pleasurable one to write.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was actually going to ask Ashley, mentioned it or asked before as well too, like where your name came from, which was really interesting. What were some of their, like, do you have like a favorite genre that you enjoyed making, or?
Oh, well, in terms of that, no, see, I tend to just call whatever I do it's just electronic music. I prefer not to box into a corner. As I said earlier, breakbeat was always a big influence for me. Sort of growing up, I started with those sort of indie breaks types. Even when you go back and look at things like 𝘭𝘰𝘵 and stuff, back in the day, and those kind of indie artists who were just about starting that crossover with bits and pieces from dance elements and stuff like that. Awesome. And I think I took the breakbeat, the beats out of that, and then there was that whole new school break scene around sort of 2000, 2001 that was quite big relatively big in the UK. Didn't quite break the mainstream, but was certainly a big influence, because we were of an age where we'd grown up listening to the Prodigy for the last however many years. So it was that was an impact and an effect. But all of that just blended in with all these other sort of electronic elements as I go through into my sound. And yeah, tried not to pigeonhole. I've done a bit of techno element, I've done a bit of house element, I've done a bit of breakbeat element, and once I threw the retro, if you like, or I wouldn't say I threw the retro in there, it was more of an acceptance that it's okay if it does sound retro, because quite clearly there is a scene heavily focused on that with a very specific idea of what that should be. And I'm always very keen that not to be that, if you like, to just to say, take the elements that work with my sound and have that as part of it. Don't try to force yourself down a particular path. Let it be your own. So all of those sort of dance elements came in, the indie side of it. There's still quite a bit of traditional song structure hidden under there somewhere. Sometimes more obvious than others. Sometimes it can go off on a little bit of a progressive element, but I think you'll find these tracks I've seemed to have honed down the 7.5-minute epics, and it seems to be a little bit shorter now, maybe awesome. Getting a little bit more radio friendly.
Okay, that's really cool. So we actually we have one more video to play. Dom, I did mention I liked your shirt. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
The classic.
always time for the classic arcades.
Yeah. So right now, we'll go right into the next video as well too.
And that was 𝘰𝘰𝘵𝘩 by A.U.W. I'm not even sure whether I pronounced that right, but you know what I'm saying. Just going on to my next question there, what would you say is the most cherished memory of your career to date?
Ooh, cherished memory of the career. I don't know. I think since we've started playing the A.U.W. stuff live, many of those are sticking out already. Even just the very first one that we did, which was more of an experiment as much as anything. We got ourselves into a record store. So when I say we, I bring on a colleague of mine, Sebastian Seb, to do some vocal work on top of the A.U.W. sounds. And we basically, again, we'd been thrashing about ideas for a little while. We'd had a couple of tracks in the making. Obviously I had the instrumental stuff as well to work on, and came up with an idea of what I could do to make a live set that was without a laptop, you know, so a doorless setup, purely synthesizer based, pretty compact. And the first one we did was record store in Rochester here in England, and just trying that out. So that's one of the most cherished, is to go, actually this works. You know, there's something about playing live that is second to no other. And since then,
it's unbeatable. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And since then, it's been a case of, well, it's actually, you know, there's people gripping onto it, and not only does it have the, you know, that feedback, that immediate feedback that you get from people, but also it's causing me creatively to do something different. The tracks that we're playing out live now are not really the studio tracks that you'll find if you just jump onto Spotify and look for A.U.W. They will be there eventually, but it's all about, again, it's all part of developing our sound, and let's say using the live performances to hone that, and to bring something new into that. You know, it's bringing out slightly different influences from myself. It's bringing out the New Order or the Cure side of my listening piece.
Yeah.
So, you know, going a little bit more alternative, and yeah, that's really nice to have that experience and to bring those in. So it's probably, yeah, the first A.U.W. live set to an audience is probably where I go with the most cherished.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to bowl you a curveball right now, and you're probably going to hate me. But of your entire discography, what's the one track you are most proud of, and why?
What's the one I'm most proud of? Well, I mean, Waltz with Strangers was the first one I went out the way to release, and that was only 2021. And although I'd written stuff and I'd had stuff publicly, you know, been on the iTunes doing remixes or whatever for other people, that's the first one where I said, this is an A.U.W. release. It's mine. I own this, and it's instrumental. It's 100% me, and it's about putting yourself out there.
I mean, that had to have been a great feeling for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it was off the back of a remix I'd done for a colleague of mine, CJ, who I really respect, and you know, he was putting stuff out there, and so I'd done a remix for him, and it's like, well, you know, great. And he said, I was like, well, I'm looking for a label or something. He said, why don't you just do it yourself? Just put it out there, and don't worry about a label. Just put something out there and see how it goes. And it felt like a really big step to be making at the time. But it's, you know, since then it's been one of the best things I could have done. So yeah. I've been really pleased to have done that.
What's the one movie you'd watch over and over again?
One movie I would watch. I could go for a really pretentious answer. I could say something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, because you know, you can always find something new in Kubrick's vision or something like that. Or I could be really boring and just say, oh, you know, I'd watch Star Wars again or something. I don't know. So yeah, there's probably too many potential answers for there, and depending on how cool or not cool I decide to want to be on a day.
Yeah, I mean, I just touching on what you said a little while ago about Dusk Waves and your events and all that. Can you tell us a little bit about any current or future projects you do have in the pipeline?
In terms of events wise, yeah, well, we've got another Dusk Waves coming up next month. So that's the 16th of July. In fact, our biggest yet. So we are doing a 6-hour Dusk Waves event. Which is live DJs and bands, all synth focused. So that has A.U.W. as one of the residents. but we're also bringing in stuff from the lounge that we talked about, so that we've got some of the chill stuff to bring it in with. We've got Infraviolet, who've supported us before, fantastic two-piece synth act.
They're an incredible band for sure. Check them out, guys. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're brilliant, and they've been wonderful support. We've got Dawn from Synthwave 83. She's coming in to do a live set, so she's trying a hand at that as something new, which is brilliant to see. Always happy to support people who want to who put themselves out there and give themselves a challenge to do. And then we've got Young Empress as well, who are again synth pop band coming in as our headliners, so they'll be in on the day. And stepping in from Happy Robots, we'll have a DJ there as well, having had one step out on us very recently. And we've been supported by the local arts festival. So there's a local arts festival called Intrafest, get it right, not Infrafest, so not like Infraviolet, but Intrafest, which is a local arts event, and they'll be supporting all the local businesses. So we've all come together to make something there, which is brilliant, because it's all about, as I said, doing something within the digital art scheme, digital arts realm, and we'll be doing something similar again within a month or so in August in a similar area. So we've got that. We've got gigs at we've got an Essex gig, Hotbox live events in Chelmsford. We've got the Tunbridge Wells Forum, which I think was where I filmed my first ever gig, being a southeastern person myself. And we've got one at the Lunar Lounge in London. So
that's
again,
a lot going on.
So yeah, it's a busy month. Lots of live events, but what's the best way to be? You know, that's the way to know. To know that you're really enjoying it, getting out there, getting yourself heard, and hopefully just giving somebody else something new to hear. You know, there's nothing more pleasurable than that, than going, here's something that we've created. Hope you enjoy it. Absolutely.
I suppose to finalize, how will people find you on socials?
So you can either just skip onto Facebook and Twitter. We're just A.U.W Music, is nice and simple. You can also go to 𝘰𝘆𝑚usic.co.uk and you'll get all the links for all the socials. The one that stands out like a sore thumb is my Instagram, which is Neon Centipede, because that's more of a personal account, so you'll get to know a little bit about me, but it does have all the event stuff, and is also shared with my cat. Who recently racked up, I will say, 1.6 million views on one of his videos. I don't quite know how he managed that. I can't do that with my music, but somehow the cat has managed it for me, so thank you very much. The A.U.W Music is usually the easiest way to find us.
Great, and we will put all the links down in the comments anyway, so anybody who misses this will be able to go straight to the link and be able to click on that. I guess finally, let's wrap this up and ask you if you have a message for your fans.
But just thank you for all the support. Every single message I get from any of the fans is always amazing. It goes straight here, goes straight to the heart, and you just don't know how much just a little message to say, I enjoyed this song or whatever it is, that means so much. And just to know that there's anybody else out there listening to it, thank you so much. Every share, every like, every follow, they all, you do know when they're happening, and you do feel so grateful. And you know what an opportunity it is to have that. So thank you to anybody who's listening for that. That's really appreciated.
Amazing. That's great. Well, thank you so much indeed for coming on to our show today, Dom.
My pleasure. It's absolutely
incredibly enlightening. Videos are incredible, and the new album, check it out, guys. Twilight Drives on all streaming platforms. And go well.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
everybody, I'm Blue Nagoon, and you're watching The Fourth Sector. Check out my new track coming up next.
guys, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Dom, A.U.W. Definitely check out his links below. Check out his music, his videos. He has a lot of upcoming stuff as well too. So we're almost at the end of the show. Hope everyone has been enjoying it so far. Just a little bit about my website, popartav.com. Could always check out some new monthly releases. You could check out some interviews I have, let's get to know interviews, news, articles, as well as videos, upcoming videos coming up as well too. Could all check it out, popartav.com. There's a submission page if you have new music coming out as well too. Feel free to let me know. Always eager to hear new music. So Ashley, how is Forged in Neon going?
Oh gosh, I mean, yeah, well, I'm just leading on from what Michael was saying. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in, guys. It's been amazing, all the feedback we've been getting. As we said at the top of the show, if you have anything that you want to send in to us, by all means do. You'll find the links down below. For Forged in Neon, God, where do I start? Much like your own detail, of course, I've got interviews coming up. Top tracks, of course, gets done almost in 7 to 10 days. Don't hate me, I just time, it's hard, but yeah, I get the top tracks coming up. Obviously then, of course, I have done a few little bits of changes to the site now to make it a little bit more user-friendly, as it were. But the one big thing that I've indeed launched is Fin submissions. Actually, I've actually had to bite the bullet and open up the submissions because I was getting submissions from everyone, everywhere, and it was just getting crazy. So now there's a one-stop shop. There's a portal where you actually go in and you do whatever you need to do, and it sends all the detail to me, and I break it down, and that's going to be going forward the benchmark, as it were, for my top tracks list. So I probably will be not going as much through Bandcamp or Spotify or SoundCloud. I'll be just waiting on you guys to tell me what I should be putting on my top track. So it's going to be interesting, obviously. Awesome. For me personally, coming up, there's a couple of trips I'm going to take. Won't say too much about them now, but they're going to be awesome. But other than that, yeah, Forged in Neon it keeps on trucking.
Yep, again, guys, we'll have links as well too in the video description. Check them all out. You could also check out our YouTube channels as well too, because you may be seeing this on mine or Ashley's.
Just to say that that the submissions on the page, you could also do it through Gmail, finsubmissions@gmail.com.
Awesome. Keep them coming, guys. We always like to hear new music.
Absolutely, for sure. And as well as that, I mean, goodness, again, if you have videos that you want to, for me to put up on my neon video wall, by all means, let me know. I've put in quite a number of videos there now tonight. Check them out. There's an actual video wall on my site now, which is amazing. And you'll also be able to check on past 4th Sector shows. I have them on the website as well. So yeah, a one-stop shop.
Awesome.
guys, we've come to the end of another exciting show. Thank you so much indeed for watching. This has been the fourth sector, the fourth sector. We have a staggering amount of really good interviews lined up actually over the next couple of months. So by all means, do check us out. As you can tell, you know, we're pretty much on every social media known to man, and I'm also on TikTok. I know I didn't want to do it, but I've done it. So it's forged in neon. So if you want to go on there, like, I don't do anything stupid. I don't like pour things over my head or not like that. It's just all forged in neon stuff. But you will see little segments of stuff up there as well, which is amazing. But yeah, my hand was forced. So I'm actually on TikTok now as well. But yeah, but going back to the fourth sector synth@gmail.com. Send your cameos, send your videos. Check us out on all of the social medias. You've got Instagram, you've got I'm tempted to say yes, we've got Twitter. We've got Twitter as well, but we've also got our own social media, so feel free to send us a DM or post about us or do anything that you can to promote, because we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Yep, a big thank you to Retro Synth as well too for re-airing our show.
The OGs, we gotta thank them.
Yep, and as well as all musicians out there for your submissions and helping us make the show possible. Thank you.
Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better myself. You guys are what make the show. So again, send as much as you like to us. We're gonna go through it. We'll publish what we can, and yeah, stay tuned for the next show. It's gonna be a cracker.
Thank you guys.